And we're live. Welcome to Awakening Warriors, where we talk about life, love, lessons, and learning. What'd you learn this week? Jump right into it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I haven't sat down and thought about what I learned, but maybe hashing out the past week will give me some insight. So the topic for today is dealing with loss. Yeah. Our most recent loss was our cat Wesley. A little close to a week. Today's Sunday, yeah. And so we thought, just because that's been present in our week and influenced our relationship even this past week, that's what we talk about.
Yeah, for sure. We always try to talk about things that are applicable and that we're currently dealing with, or that are kind of fresh in our mind. Or
it's definitely easier to riff on that, because I think sometimes when we pick a topic, which the topics are good, but if it's not something that we're currently experiencing or dealing with, it's harder to. It feels more forced. We've been dealing with this for the past week, so.
For sure.
So ironically, when we were on vacation in Mexico, Montana said, and I'm not blaming you for this situation, but I just think it's funny, ironic that we're on vacation and you said, I think we need more trauma in our relationship in order to grow. And I feel like we maybe had that opportunity.
Because I believe trauma breeds growth, personally, because it's just a resistance thing for me. It's a trial, it's a test, insert here whatever you want to describe. But I relate things a lot about going to the gym. You have to have resistance in order for actual growth. Otherwise, if everything's easy, there is no growth. If you think of a kid that had a really easy life or childhood or something like that, typically, not always, they're not prepared for actual life and emotionally stable. And
well, even just thinking anything, if you break a bone and it heals, it's then stronger. If you plant a seed, it has to break
not
through
if you break an Achilles, it's not still come back stronger.
That's not a bone.
Yeah, but I'm saying not everything in life.
I didn't say that. I said, well, maybe I said it goes for everything. I meant more it goes for more, it goes for a lot of stuff in life. There we go. I don't know if I said everything, but a lot of stuff in life. So he said that, and I feel honestly, in terms of our relationship, we did not rise to that occasion.
Yeah. It wasn't god awful by any means.
No.
But
we definitely didn't.
Well, I just want to mention that. But yeah, we didn't rise to the occasion in terms of executing how we should have executed it better, or how well we could have executed it.
Executed. Well, I just mean more, and I don't know, maybe this is what you mean, but in terms of our growth in our relationship, I said this the other day, I think, so he died late Sunday night, and there was a whole week. It's been honestly probably a 2-week situation, because week and a half, because before that he was sick, and so there was dealing with that.
And we were still connected then. During his connection, or during his sickness, we were still pretty connected and operating well.
And then I just said this recently too, I think we turned away from each other rather than turning into the relationship.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I closed off in general, and I was just because I felt, guilty and upset with myself. And this was immediately after his passing. Because I really, fucking loved that cat. And then I just kind of... And I'll go into more things as we go on. But I was unprepared for his passing. So my unpreparedness rattled me. And just I was caught off guard, essentially. Which led to me blaming myself because I could have done things differently. And then I just anticipated so much more, life with him. And, so
And so
that caused me to basically like shut down to a degree. You know, I wasn't an ass. I wasn't, aggressive or mean or whatever else, but I was just like feeling sorry for myself, just being in the sad thing. And obviously there's times where that's, healthy and stuff like that. But I feel like, this time I probably should have turned in rather than
Shut off.
shut off. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, like, I feel like we were each having, like, our own experiences. Because we weren't coming together.
And we're both having a similar experience. It was just, because I feel like you felt guilty too.
Yeah, and I think, so this is what I was thinking about. Like, when you get in those moods, because there was also a situation when we lived in Michigan that, like, something similar kind of happened.
In the same fucking, like, week compared to last year.
Oh, yeah, it was literally, like, the same.
So, I posted a video, like, not too long ago on my Facebook. So, if you're Facebook friends, or, I mean, even if you're not, you can still look at my public, because I'm public. I repost the same thing because it just popped up on Facebook. Happened to. You're gonna piss me off. And so I just reshared it because I was so relatable. I didn't even watch a full video, but I just looked at the headline and I knew exactly I didn't know exactly what it was about, but I was just like, oh wow, this is applicable. But I don't like watching myself on video, so I chose not to watch it, but eventually I did because you had mentioned it, and then Bryce had brought up made some comments, but Bryce's comments particularly stood out in my mind, and I was like, dude, that's fucking wild, because he's like, basically time is not linear, we're in a loop.
Right, it's like the same exact day that we were struggling similarly with a situation a year ago.
Yeah. And
it wasn't like an animal death, but it's still just very, very applicable.
It was a huge loss, and yeah.
So where I was getting at was when you get in those moods, and I think part of it has to do with like my codependent tendencies, but you get in these like down on yourself, feel very bad, like whatever, and I don't choose to go into that either. Like, you shut off or like, kind of disconnect from me, but I'm not reaching out an olive branch to be like, hey, let's connect. Like, because I don't know if it's because it's like scary for me, or I don't want you to get mad at me, or I don't want to make it worse or whatever. So like, I just like let you have your own experience, and then I was over here having my own. So like, as much as you disconnected, I also wasn't trying to reconnect.
Yeah. And I don't typically, again, that video, I bring up the fact that I usually don't go emotionally down here. Typically I'm very level or slightly elevated. I really don't. I'm either neutral or slightly high. I usually don't get the high highs, and I also don't get the low lows. But I would say and it's not even really a low low. It was for me. It was for me, but not for a lot of people, I feel like. Because, we had brought up the fact that, I don't even know how to pause this, damn it.
I guess we can just leave it. Just leave it.
Okay.
It is what it is at this point. I'm going to shut the door, though. Or, do you want me to put him outside?
I don't know. Just shut the door and get the fuck
out. Out.
Go.
Out. Go down.
Go. The dog just had an accident in the house, so fucking.
Oh, these animals, man. Anyway.
So,
okay.
Basically.
So low for you.
I had a low. A low for me, and then it lasted probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I was for the most part back.
See, and I remember.
And I wasn't 100% back, but I was mostly back by Thursday.
I remember feeling pretty decent on Wednesday. Just because, like, I was at work and it was, like, fine, and then we went to yoga, which was good, and, but yeah, and so I think, again, just part of, like, my codependent tendencies, I also, because I said this too, like, there was even, I don't think it was Tuesday, but there was a day where I was like, okay, like, obviously I was still sad, I still had some, like, breakdowns, I call them, I just, like, cried at work, but then I, like, come home, and then you're still in the space of, like, trying to figure things out and have, like, Googled more stuff. Because I Googled initially, and then I relayed that information to you, and then you went deeper. So then, like, I was like, I was influenced by where you were at that point when I wasn't necessarily there when I walked through the door, but then we interacted and then I was like back to down.
But she, in a sense, put me there by saying like, oh, you want to feel really guilty? And I wasn't, you should look up this. And I wasn't looking it up to feel guilty. I was looking it up for answers. Because I want to...
I put you there.
That's why I did this. You don't fucking pay attention. You put me there.
Well, let's hear the...
You want to see the first fucking take and you weren't paying attention? That's what I do is do the air quotes. And maybe the people on the podcast, and I also said it verbally, put me there.
Ooh.
In a sense.
Energy shift.
I am a little fucking agitated. Because you're not paying attention. But anyways.
Don't even. Let's woosah.
Go fucking
continue.
sage this shit. So, and this is part of the thing of being disconnected, right? If you watch some of our podcasts, we're really connected and like, you know, it's just flowing well. And then even this one's not going horribly, but like this particular instant, like you can tell that we're, you know, I'm fucking irritated and I want to punch you in the face, and then you're getting feisty because you see my essential weakness of being in a mood, and then you find, and that's abnormal typically for me to lose control.
It's ironic because I was literally just thinking, I was in the bathroom before coming down here, I'm like, wow, because we just watched an episode before we came down here, and I like felt like we were not connected, but we're like, it was just more lighthearted, and we were like, whatever, and I was like, wow, it's nice that we're like getting in a different place, and now here we are again. But anyway, that's how things go. Ebb and flow.
So anyways, I was at my lower low, and then, you know, still functional, you know, it is what it is. My Thursday I was normal, but she, again, air quote, put me there continued. I don't even think it was continued. I think it would have been continued regardless, because I need closure essentially.
That was on like Monday.
No, you didn't tell me to look up paralysis or whatever.
Monday or Tuesday. It wasn't Wednesday, it wasn't Thursday.
Yeah, it was probably Tuesday. But I was still trying to figure things out, I think. Wednesday.
Because it was the day
Thursday.
that we had lunch together at home.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, essentially, I started looking into what's called tick paralysis, and then on Wednesday, because that's when I was looking at it, what I believe Wednesday, yeah. Because it wasn't Tuesday, because it wasn't a 7 o'clock at night.
I got home before 7 o'clock at night on Tuesday. It was at lunch. And then I got home. I know. And I got home and you were in the office. And you were like telling me all this stuff. And then I sat down and then I started crying again.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was on Wednesday.
I didn't have lunch with you on Wednesday.
I'm pretty confident that happened on Wednesday. But
I can almost... Oh, I can't. I can look at my history and see when I was searching that stuff. Because after that day, I didn't anymore.
So can I, probably. But either way, like, I like closure. I want to know the answers on why this fucking thing happened. And I would like to resolve the issue for future time. And then, so, I ended up continuing to look it up. And then, yeah, you came in that day, and I was like, dude, I think this really is that. And it very well could have been. I feel like our cat was essentially misdiagnosed. And it just is what it is.
Which chances are it would have been... Sounds like it probably would have been that way.
There was still a high likelihood that, you know, the same outcome would have happened.
Right.
But at least I would have been able to know whether that fucking was the thing. At least we would have had a fair shot. Yeah, but it wasn't a fair fight, essentially.
Let me finish my sentence.
Be okay not knowing.
Thank you. You're not the only one here. So, you know what I'm saying, but they don't.
So, either way, like, I feel it's not even about not knowing. It's about not having a fair opportunity.
Now it's about not knowing, because we don't know.
Yeah, but in the time, it's about it's still about not having a fair opportunity. I don't, like, whether it did or did not happen. It all worked out in the way it's supposed to work out.
Exactly, so that's as fair as it's going to get.
But it's still not the fucking, I did not have the knowledge in order to accomplish what we needed to accomplish for a fair shot. You know what I mean? So
I hear what you're saying, but that's also a
So it is what it is now, but...
Let me finish my sentences! That's also a
You keep
hindsight.
interrupting me.
No! You just interrupted me! So that's a hindsight. Well, you keep like running down these things.
Go, finish it out.
I have stuff to add where we're at now. There are things I need to say even in the past, but you just keep running. So that's a hindsight.
You're gonna make me punch you in the face
Statement.
before the end of this episode, bro.
That's a hindsight statement.
I don't give a
Because-
fuck what a hindsight statement is, personally.
But
Like,
then you're choosing to suffer then because we couldn't do
not
anything
choosing
differently
to
because we
suffer
did
now.
because we did the best that we could with what we knew at the time.
Yeah, but I went to a fucking professional who went to school for this shit and is supposed to know everything, and in their arrogancy, I'll take that air quote back. In their arrogancy, fucking misdiagnosed. So, like,
You don't even know that.
I'm damn confident I'd put my fucking life on it. That's how confident I am that they was misdiagnosed. So, anyways, and so we've been going in and out as far as being connected. You've been overly sensitive, in my personal opinion. I've supposedly, which I'm open to, been a little more dickish or whatever you want to call it. How would you describe it? Is that a good word?
Great.
And so, like, we haven't been getting along as well as we could. And typically in my experience, because I've lost, just last year we lost a dog, and I had him since like freshman year of high school, so I ended up having him for about approximately 13 years.
Which would be interesting because if you can find that episode, because we like hashed that out too, and I can almost like, me just remembering that conversation, I feel like the energy is probably even going to be very different than this one.
Yeah. So, basically, we lost him, but it wasn't near as, even though we had more, I had more time with him and I had more connection with him, it was still an easier loss because I was prepared for it and I felt like it was fulfilled, whereas I feel like Wesley, our cat, didn't get a full life and I felt like it was my fault. And I also, wasn't prepared mentally because I assumed like I had so many more years with him, whereas I knew Taz, our dog that we had for 13 years, our time was coming to an end. So I was already preparing myself for my loss of him because, I would literally sit there and smell him, I would kiss him, I would play with him, I would hug him, I would whatever the thing is, with in mind that, this will be ending soon, So it's a lot easier because I knew it was coming. I already laid the road work or the groundwork or whatever for his, dispersing or what is that? Dispensing, leave, like another word for leaving.
For his exit. I don't know.
So it wasn't that big of a. It was sucked obviously, but it wasn't near as such a big hit because he died of essentially natural causes. Like there's nothing we could have done. He was at the end of his life. It'd be like some fucking 90-year-old dying of fucking a stroke or something. Like he's done. His life is fulfilled. He's passed on, knowing that everything's complete and he was on his way out. Whereas this cat wasn't that old. He could have had many more years, and I felt like I fucked him. So, and he always had a shitty life before us, and he was really opening up, which I think made me attached to him even more because of the growth that he had. So I could appreciate, the change in him, because he was a fucking psycho, dandruffy, stressed out little shithead when we got him that would chase our, literally try to attack our dogs.
Charge.
To fucking, this lovey cat that gave kisses, that could literally walk past our dogs without, any major issues or anything, and I could be within inches of them, and
Share a couch with her.
share a couch and get along and everything else. Like, totally radically different cat. And I attach to that growth because that's like such an important part of in my life, because I know, like that's the point of life. So, yeah, and that's why it was such a hard loss for me. Like, even when I'm with my dad, specifically on like snowmobiling trips, I'm preparing myself for his loss. He's unhealthy. He's overweight. He lives a sedentary lifestyle. He has high blood pressure.
Lots of stress.
Lots of stress. Fucking insert here. I know for a fact. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I believe that I do not have that many snowmobiling trips left with him. What? Fucking maybe 15 if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky. What, you think that's pushing it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm lucky, I'm thinking probably like 10. So
I think that's on the high end in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah.
Just limited number of times.
Yeah. These times will end, and odds are will go on, and then who's gonna go snowmobiling with me? Like, fuck. I'm getting all emotional right now thinking about it. Like, yeah, but it's still not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same essence and ambiance and everything else. And, like...
I mean, mean and uptight.
And,
it's just you and I.
And obviously I could have a kid and I can share those experiences. And obviously that'd be ideal, in this sense and everything else. But, it'll just be different. So, like, even when you have kids, and we've talked about this before, Jesse Itzler hits it really good in his impact theory. He used to write how many days he had to live on his arm.
Like, if he made it to 80 or something like that.
If he made it to 80, which is like the average, whatever, amount of days or years that a, man lives. So, yeah. So he started thinking about, like, okay, you have, we'll say 18 summers with your kids, 18 winters with your kids, 18 springs with your kids, 18 summer vacations with your kids. What are you going to do with them? What are you going to be or have experience with them? And he's all about, like, building your life resume, which really made me change my perspective. That's why I'm always down to go do fucking snowboarding in Mexico and Sturgis, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I want to go experience all this shit. I might not be here tomorrow, so, like, fuck it. My dad could die this fucking year, and then that was my last snowmobile trip. But I'm already mentally preparing for that, so I believe my parents will not be near as a bad loss, as most people. It won't rattle me and shake me because I'm already preparing. Both my parents are extremely unhealthy in my personal opinion, and I can't do anything about that. So I have to enjoy the moments that I have with them. Otherwise, I'll be looking back and regretting,
Which is like a great lesson, period, because that's what I brought up to you. Like, we could not wake up tomorrow. We could get in a car accident today, like, healthy or not, and... I don't know, yeah.
Are you saying I should start preparing for your death?
I asked you that. I said, are you preparing for mine? And you were like, no, maybe I should.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. So, yeah, it's just it was an interesting experience, and it was fucking annoying, and we failed the test. I'm using air quotes. I have to point that out for everybody here.
Stop doing that, please. It feels unconscious and I don't like it.
Oh, probably because I'm like slightly uptight and fucking irritated.
Well, even like talking about it now, clearly I still have emotions.
I don't have emotions about Wesley. I was just having emotions about like even this last snowmobile with my trip with my dad. Like, fuck, man, I hope we don't end on a shitty one, bro.
It also is what it is if it is, like...
Yeah, I know, but...
That's
like,
resistance.
and maybe that's something I should prepare myself for.
Ooh! I have another point. So that's what I was thinking about, too, because... And I mean, obviously, like, there's no timeline for grief, blah, blah, blah. Like, we were only... Because on Monday, like, we were pretty sad, and then when you were pointed out, like, it just happened, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you're right. Like, it literally hasn't even been 24 hours yet. Like, But I was at work, maybe? I don't know. I was somewhere, and on one of my bracelets it says adventure. And that was my word for last year. This year's word is surrender, but I was like looking at my bracelet, and I was like, oh, it's last year's word. And I was like, I wonder how long surrender is. So I like spelled it out, and I was like, oh, it's just as many letters. And then it like hit me, light bulb moment, like that's why, not why I'm struggling so much, because I would have been sad regardless, but like I'm not surrendering to this situation, like the Wesley situation. Like I was resisting, and I was needing the answers, and I was feeling like shit and feeling guilty and all this stuff. And like that is not surrendering, that is not acceptance at all.
What was my word last year? This year it's vulnerability. Something to do with moving.
Moving?
Not specifically moving, but it had something to do with, essentially that. Like, moving played a huge part in it. Like my word. Fuck, I'll have to go look at it. I always write them down.
The first one we did, because this is our third year with the word, right? Maybe
third or fourth.
Because my first one was passion, and that was like not it.
Hold on. I'm gonna pause it.
Guest in there.
If you heard that, then cool. If not, whatever. Perfect. That'd be better. But it looks like it's still recorded the whole time during a phone call. So I just had to quick answer a lady about renting out the event center. So.
Anywho, so surrender.
One of the things that we could have done better, I feel like, was definitely turned into each other as far as with the loss, rather than, me particularly shutting down and then just closing off. And then I also feel like being overall prepared for all losses, because so that's like a next level step in growth, because I can mentally prepare if I have time for a loss, which is great, but you can't anticipate every loss, obviously. And I think that's a life lesson too, because I thought I was advanced, and I think I still am to a degree, because I can rationalize and I can process losses before and appreciate them before they ever happen. But again, I can't, like to the next level, right? Because there's levels to this game. I could have been even more spiritually prepared rather than emotionally prepared for a loss. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, up until you said that, I feel like that sounded very type A of you, to like, I need to be in a place where I'm prepared for everything life's going to handle, like, throw to me. But I think you recaptured more of what I'm thinking in terms of, like you said, like being just more spiritually in a place where you can handle those situations with grace. We were not super graceful.
We weren't trashy or like really shitty about it, but like it was brief, and we're still feeling the effects of it too. Like there's a ripple effect. So Wesley rock dropped in the pond, and then in the beginning it was like the first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for sure. It was like, and then as you go further out into the weeks, the months, the years, it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like the ripple effect fucking deal. So, we are to the do part. We're not to the do. Because like we're not closed off to each other anymore at the very moment. I do multiple times. Well, no, just specifically today, I think that I really wanted to punch you in the face, like in these like particular moments. Like literally, I just wanted to. I was restraining myself and holding myself back.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's how it goes, and we know that. Like, again, we've experienced other loss. Like you said, this one was a little jarring because we didn't see it coming. Even, like, when he was sick. that didn't even like cross my mind that might be the end goal until the very end, like Sunday, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
because he really took a turn for the worse.
he was
eating throughout the week
and drinking on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, oh shit. And he was moving. He went from downstairs to upstairs. So I was like, okay, he's eating, he's drinking, he took his medicine Sunday morning.
I called multiple different, we took him to the regular vet. I followed up on Friday to confirm, like, hey, should we bring him back into a different vet? You called on Saturday to give an update to the normal vet. Like, you know, I felt like we were going through the motion, not just going through the motions, but doing the accurate things.
Diligence.
But then at the end, I was like, I could have done fucking more. I could have researched this shit and took it to the doctors, which is what I normally do for myself. Before I ever go to the doctor, which we did to a certain degree, we did that before we even took him to the vet. We were looking for what was wrong with him.
Which is difficult because it's a symptom. Tired, not eating is like a symptom for every single illness a cat has.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay, this isn't helpful.
And I can't ask the cat questions, so I'm taking him to the health.
Can you breathe? Do you feel stuffy? How are your lungs?
Yeah.
How's your belly?
Where I can self-diagnose myself and say, oh fuck, I got Achilles tendonitis, dude. Like fuck, I better back that up. I don't need a doctor to tell me that. I can look up the symptoms. I can, ask other people that have had it. I can just go through the process. But either way, but I feel like at the end of the day, and I still feel like at the end of the day, we could have done more. But that you have to be willing to accept that, like, okay, you didn't do more, and you did do your best at the time when you were experiencing it. Because I didn't think he was gonna die either. Like I didn't think like. Cat's fucking sick, poor thing, I cuddled him here and there and, made sure he had space.
Yeah, we wanted to let him be because clearly he wasn't feeling good, but also made sure he had water and he was comfy.
And he was eating and he was drinking and whatever else. So, part of me is like, fuck, dude, I could have been with him a lot more. And the other part's like, fuck, I could have been looking up stuff, different stuff. And so, yeah. I mean, I'm going to prepare myself for losing my kids immediately when I have them. Fuck. That would be wild.
I don't know. And obviously I get that. We have that conversation talking about, why that's important because that isn't inevitable. At times, these things are going to happen. But I still also don't know that because for you want all the what is it? Oh, no loose ends, all the answers, all the preparedness, and I just don't think
it's not plausible, but you can do the best you can. It's kind of like, if you're going hunting or, be prepared for the task at hand. And, you don't know that. You don't know if you'll ever need fucking a gun in your pocket or whatever in your holster or some shit. But yet, you still have it. You're still prepared, And that's kind of where I'm at. You should always be prepared. And that's the idea, is to be as prepared in life as you can. Be prepared for tests. Because there's some tests that I feel like that happen, and I'm like, wow, I did that. I dealt with that really well, And it's not even that big of a deal but for some people it'd be fucking devastating, And vice versa, other people probably could have dealt with this a lot better than I had, but I feel like most probably wouldn't. So they'd probably be a lot worse. It's day number 6. Today's 7. No, 6. Whatever.
Tonight at 11:30 it'll be exactly.
It'll be a week. So, yeah, and I still have maybe some mildly unprocessed emotions, but I'm for the most part fine. I'll process through those as we go on, but I think the crying's done and
clearly not for me.
So
that's what I do though.
Yeah.
I think one thing that stuck out to me in the difference with Taz and then Wes was and because I'm a very physical touch, a very whatever. But I just remember when after Taz, there was a point where we were hugging in bed, crying together, and we didn't have anything even close to that with Wes because we were just separate.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And so, that was an interesting. Now you bring that up, I don't specifically remember that moment, but I'm sure, That was 2 dramatically different responses.
Which they were like dramatically different situations, but
Yeah, for sure.
don't mind me.
Don't
This is
mind
what
her,
I
she's
do.
crying.
I cry. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm mad, frustrated. My emotions come out of my eyeballs.
I only cry when I'm like really sad. Usually on like losses of specifically animals or
Ugh, I cry often.
when I feel whatever. So yeah, that's it. I feel like for the most part, I mean, I don't really have anything specific. We fucked up. We got to deal with it, and but. A lot of times people won't even go back and like circle back and process this. Like they just move the fuck on with their lives, And I think that's a major issue with a lot of people's situations because they need to process through this. Like this
or
is the
get
first time.
stuck. Like either end of that spectrum is not good.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to be able to move through things, like because we could continue to let this, be uptight in our relationship, which there is some still, residual stuff going on clearly, but yeah, and then you can't let it affect you too long too, because that can be damaging to the relationship. You have to be able to move through things as gracefully as you can, so.
And so what does that look like? What have you done to help you move through?
Just ignore it, avoid and suppress with alcohol and drugs.
I might have a little of that. The alcohol part.
I don't think I have any of that particularly.
I don't feel consciously like I do, but like I had some drinks yesterday. I had some drinks Friday.
Yeah. Like I had a couple drinks on Friday and that was it, and I was like, not even worth it. And that was only because I was like, oh, whatever, just, yeah. So.
Let me see. I did an energy cleanse breath work the day that you told me that I should go meditate again, and I was very irritated at you. I was like,
she hates it when I'm right.
Clearly I need to. And like I also knew, because my mind was like I should go like meditate or do a breath work, and my soul said I should go do a breath work session or meditate, and my mind was like, no, let's just do stuff. So I like organized under the kitchen sink, and I vacuumed, and I like all this stuff that like is not normally like, let me go do that. And I was like, okay, clearly I'm trying to just do, so I need to go do. I need to go be. I need to go feel. So.
Yeah, process the emotions, let them go out, which I used to just, stay shut down. Like, because I was still even processing the emotions while I was shut down. I mean, I was purposely trying to get it out almost, because I would, like, look at, because a lot of people will relive the experience. So, like, they'll hold a picture of the, loved ones for however long, and, like, they'll, feel so bad and whatever else, or let their mind think about their past good times, whatever else. I was specifically thinking about what I could have done better in order to save him, essentially. But in that process, I also would take pictures and look at him, and try to let myself cry and have the moment or whatever, because that's not a strength of mine. So I would go look at pictures and then just try to activate those emotions, because I'd rather just get it out, because I used to hold all that energy out in my body, and we don't really talk about we haven't talked about it much. But your body will hold emotions, and then you'll lose flexibility, because you'll hold different emotions, different places in your body, and
right, it stores it.
Yeah, it stores it because it's all energy that needs to be released. So I was trying to release that energy, because I just wanted to process it and be done and over with. Like I just want to move through things as fast as I can.
Type A.
I just want to fucking get through it and get to the next thing, get to the next level, get to the next tier. So that's one of the things I did. I consciously, intentionally tried to look at pictures of Wesley and cry it out, and just let it go. So, which definitely helped, I think. So there was something else too. Yeah, and I mean this could be applied for a lot of different things too, like this whole process and everything, because a lot of things will affect how you operate your emotions or whatever else, whether it be anxiety or depression. Just go through the experience, feel the emotions, because those things will have detrimental effects on the relationship with your kid, the relationship with your spouse, relationship at work, relationship,
Your health.
yeah, health, money, parents, you name it. All these things, if you're not processing these emotions and these experiences, yeah, thank you, then you're going to get hung up on them, and you're going to see a lot of it reflect back in your life one way or another, whether you're conscious of it or not.
Or you'll resist it, not necessarily get, but that's still that's getting hung up on too. It's just it just looks different. But you gotta feel in order to heal. Cheesy one-liner.
Yeah, so take your time to process those emotions. You just feel it out. So, and I've come a long way as far as in those terms, because I was like, oh, that shit's gay, that shit's dumb, men don't have emotions, blah blah blah. So, and especially me particularly, because I'm not a fucking pussy individual. I just don't, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a sensitive man, because there are sensitive men out there that are process those feelings and stuff like that. So it's been a task to try to get more to that point. So it's a struggle. And other people have, potentially yourself, have an issue trying to control feeling so many emotions. So, or letting them affect you, because you'll still feel them, you just won't affect you if you have them under control. Do you see how I always use the air quotes on things?
Yeah, I feel like you probably overuse them. They lose their meaning. That's probably why I didn't even notice them the first time you did them, because you do it so often that it doesn't even...
Jesus. Alright, we're dragging this on, so...
You are talking more.
I feel like we need to make it at least 45 minutes, or it's fucking garbage.
Yeah?
I don't know, potentially.
Why?
I don't know.
Ouch. That hurt. Okay. We'll wrap it up.
Go on.
Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, although I didn't even post last week's episode again. So this week's announcement will cover 2 episodes. Yeah, share this if you got any insight or any nuggets, or we'd love to hear from you as well. Loss obviously is generalizable. Everybody experiences it. Very human experience. And this was just our experience with one of them recently. And we actually, like I said, we have another podcast episode where we talk about losing Tazzy too. So, yep.
Yeah, so that's it.
Thanks for being here, for listening, for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.
Bye.